October 7, 32 AD, an Arab-Muslim army of 60,000 cavalry crosses the Pyrenees into France. They've already conquered Spain, North Africa, the Middle East, and Persia. They've been unstoppable for a century. Now they're pushing into the heart of Christian Europe. Standing in their way is Charles Martel, a Frankish warlord, and 30,000 infantry soldiers. Most are farmers and freemen armed with spears and shields. They've never faced an army like this. If the Muslims win, France falls, then Germany, then Italy, all of Christian Europe could become part of the Islamic Caliphate. If the Franks win, Islamic expansion stops here. Everything depends on what happens in the next 7 days. This is the Battle of Tours, the fight that decided whether Europe would be Christian or Muslim. Chapter 1. The Umayyad Conquest. To understand why this battle mattered, you need to understand how fast Islam spread. In 632 AD, the Prophet Muhammad dies. The religion he founded controls only the Arabian Peninsula. 100 years later, in 732, the Islamic Caliphate stretches from India to Spain. It's the fastest military expansion in human history. The Umayyad Caliphate, based in Damascus, conquered the Persian Empire, took Egypt and North Africa from the Byzantine Empire, then crossed into Spain in 711. The Visigothic Kingdom of Spain collapsed in just 3 years. By 720, almost all of Iberia is under Muslim control. Then, the Umayyad governor of Spain, Abd al-Rahman al-Ghafiqi, looks north across the Pyrenees. France is divided, weak, rich. The Christian kingdoms are fighting each other. It's an easy target. In 732, Abd al-Rahman assembles an army. Estimates vary, but it's probably around 40,000 to 60,000 cavalry. Most are light cavalry, Berbers from North Africa, and Arabs, fast-moving raiders who've conquered everything in their path. They cross the Pyrenees in spring. They raid through Aquitaine, burning towns and monasteries, gathering loot. They're heading for Tours, home to one of the richest monasteries in France. The Duke of Aquitaine tries to stop them. His army is destroyed. He flees north and begs Charles Martel for help. Chapter 2. Charles Martel. Charles Martel is not a king. His official title is Mayor of the Palace, essentially the power behind the throne of the Frankish kingdom. But make no mistake, Charles is the real ruler. He controls the Frankish army. He spent 15 years fighting civil wars, defeating rival Frankish nobles, and uniting the kingdom under his control. He's a brilliant military commander, and he knows exactly what's at stake. If the Muslims take Tours, they'll keep going. Paris is next. Then the whole Frankish kingdom falls. Then nothing stops them from taking Germany and Italy. Charles assembles an army, 30,000 men, mostly infantry. The Franks don't have much cavalry. They fight on foot in tight formations with shields and spears. They march south to intercept the Muslim army. In early October, the two forces meet near Tours, between the towns of Poitiers and Tours. Historians call it the Battle of Tours or the Battle of Poitiers. For 7 days, the armies face each other across an open field. Neither side wants to attack first. Chapter 3. The battle. Abd al-Rahman has a problem. His army is loaded with loot from raiding French towns. Treasure, slaves, gold, it's all sitting in his camp. The longer he waits, the more vulnerable his camp becomes. He needs to break the Frankish army and move on. Charles Martel has a different problem. His infantry can't chase down cavalry. The Muslims decide to retreat and raid somewhere else. The Franks can't stop them. But Charles has one advantage. The Franks are between the Muslims and their escape route back to Spain. If the Muslims want to go home with their loot, they have to go through the Franks. On the 7th day, Abd al-Rahman decides to attack. Wave after wave of Muslim cavalry charges the Frankish shield wall. The Franks lock shields, brace their spears, and hold their ground. This is what Frankish infantry do. They form a wall of shields and spears that doesn't move. Cavalry can charge all day and they won't break it. The Arab and Berber cavalry are light horsemen. They're fast, mobile, deadly against disorganized enemies. But against a disciplined shield wall, they can't break through. Hour after hour, the cavalry charges. Hour after hour, the Franks hold. Then Charles Martel makes his move. He sends a detachment of troops to circle around and raid the Muslim camp. When word reaches the Muslim cavalry that their camp is being attacked, panic spreads. The loot, the treasure, everything they've spent months gathering is about to be stolen. Units break off from the battle to protect the camp. The coordinated attack falls apart. In the chaos, Abd al-Rahman tries to restore order. He rides to the front, and he's killed, struck down in the fighting. Without their commander, the Muslim army collapses. That night, they retreat. By morning, they're gone. Charles Martel has won. Chapter 4. The aftermath, the immediate result is clear. The Muslim invasion of France is over. The Umayyad forces retreat back to Spain. They never mount another serious invasion of Francia. Islamic expansion into Western Europe stops at Tours. But the long-term political effects are even bigger. Charles Martel becomes the savior of Christendom. His victory gives him unquestioned authority over the Frankish kingdom. He never takes the title of king, but he doesn't need to. He has the power. His son, Pepin the Short, will become king. His grandson, Charlemagne, will build an empire that covers most of Western Europe and be crowned Holy Roman Emperor by the Pope in 800 AD. The Carolingian dynasty, one of the most important ruling families in European history, rises to power because of what Charles Martel did at Tours. And here's the big question historians argue about. What if the Muslims had won? If Abd al-Rahman crushes the Franks, there's no organized force left to stop him. France becomes Muslim. The Umayyad Caliphate pushes into Germany, Italy, and eventually Eastern Europe. Christianity doesn't disappear, but it becomes a minority religion. The political and cultural development of Europe goes in a completely different direction. No Charlemagne. No Holy Roman Empire. No Crusades. The Renaissance, the Reformation, the Enlightenment. All the things we associate with European history either don't happen or happen completely differently. But that's not what happened. Charles Martel won. Christian Europe survived. The political and religious map of the continent was set for the next 1,300 years, closing in 732 AD. Two armies met in a field near Tours. One represented the Islamic Caliphate, the fastest growing empire in history. The other represented Christian Francia, divided and weak. 7 days later, the Islamic advance into Europe was over. Charles Martel didn't just win a battle, he preserved Christian civilization in Western Europe. He set the stage for the rise of the Carolingian Empire. He changed the course of world history. And he did it with farmers and freemen holding shields and spears, refusing to break, refusing to run. Sometimes the fate of civilizations comes down to one battle. Tours was one of those battles, scribed to sword and pen, where military might meets political power.